going to talk to our customer, we're going to sell to our customer, and it's that really, really fragmented journey. And whilst we might have seen some numbers slow down, we're also seeing some really good performances still coming through. But it's how we really own that customer journey that's really complex. And Michael, I'm going to start with you. I'm going to talk to you because I think the other day I called you the distribution rebel. Because you have done things differently, not just once but twice. I thought you talked to us about the magic recipe of really starting out in the right channel and building that out in the right way and then blending it into physical. So
the secret is for us it was always a digital first ecosystem. For step one, we did want to start off with a interesting and is this thing on? Yeah. With an interesting and the right product for the digital ecosystem. If we are to disrupt a user via social media, is that better done with a plain packaged or a plain product that applies clear, or is it done with a bright, bold, and something unusual that captures the eye? And for us, knowing that we wanted to start this brand through digital disruption, that was point one. Point two, of course, you want a product that it is interesting. It might be gimmicky as far as visuals, but it carries certain USPs and it makes people happy because there's no scenario where you can sell something once and have a viable business. So you want a percentage of your customers to love your product. So you do start at the core with the product. The delivery for us was naturally first and foremost on the direct-to-consumer side, but literally out of the gate, there was probably not even 2-3 weeks where the product lived on our site but didn't live on Amazon at the same time. And that is because we're all, victims. I would say probably there's a 95% Prime membership in this room. And we use it for product research because we don't trust the reviews we read on direct manufacturer sites, and for ease of purchase. And we have accepted that we need to be present on Amazon at the same price point and try to get as many customers into our own ecosystem, but not force them into our own ecosystem, which produced the net highest new customers versus trying to keep it at a single channel. I think that was our biggest point, is just not to be greedy and to allow people to choose. You then can incentivize people to buy from you using maybe a free gift or a not discounting the price versus Amazon, but by allowing them to create bigger bundles with promotions. And then, and you need those customers on your website because in digital advertising, it's all about performance. To know what works and to know what doesn't work as well, you have to know which creative, which visual, which video, which advert drove an actual sale. And you can only do that by driving customers direct to you. So for us, it's a very mathematical and almost unapologetically numbers-driven approach at the growth and the marketing side, coupled with giving the choice of channel of where to buy, which now extends, of course, into some retailers as well.
And Renee, Amazon is a question for many. And I really would love your thoughts on where Amazon is today, but how it works together. What's that journey and how does Amazon play a role beyond Amazon?
So I was the head of luxury beauty at Amazon before COVID, so in 2017, when I was like, everyone, when we would pitch, everyone would say no, all the groups would say no. And then we'd be walking out and like the VP of whoever would be like, but I'm an Amazon Prime customer. I buy everything on Amazon. I was like, how are we not connecting the dots? So I think that it's changed. I think the customer's been there for a long time and the beauty brands have caught up. So it's a lot less today, even in the past kind of year. So I would say a lot less convincing needs to be done for brands in terms of, yes, do it or don't do it. It really becomes a question of when and then how to lean into it. One thing that's changed is there's a lot better data out there. And I think that demand generation is still done mostly off of Amazon. Well, I do think in that kind of old school funnel, Amazon is more consideration and purchase than it is first time interaction with a brand. You're generating a lot of demand off of Amazon, and then you're harvesting that demand on Amazon. Additionally, you are finding and borrowing Amazon's customers for customers who are in market for certain problems, solutions, trends. So it's brands who I think have a real self-understanding of how are they generating demand, how does Amazon fit into the demand generation side, but then having no qualms about the fact that your customer wants to purchase on Amazon, and lots of customers are more loyal to Amazon than they are to you as a brand. So if you are not there, you're kind of actively giving your competitor a gift.
I'm always passionate about really talking to our customer in front of us, because you have a fluid conversation, but actually you've got to merge that in with the hard data and really understand it and how to make it work. So Gilbert, I wanted to talk to you, because it is how you start. How do you help brands with that mix of e-commerce expertise and that data tool in today's world when you've got to fund everything to really make sure the spend hits home?
You have to be intentional about what you're doing. This is something that we talk to all of the brands that come our way, is, that if you're going to do something, you have to A, be intentional, and B, you have to put on all the basics first, right? I mean, like data tracking, right? Conversion tracking, like your data is just as good as the data that actually gets through. Being intentional about what you do. It's not about being viral for the fact of being viral. Not all top of funnel brand virality content end up converting into sales. So you have to be really in control of that. And something that we tell a lot of brands is like, be intentional, invest in the foundations, in the basics, do them brilliantly, and then scale, go up on that bit. But I think that nothing is going to beat, even a great product that the right type of people doesn't get in front of, that doesn't get that chance. And it is really like building that virtuous cycle in it.
Yeah, it is, because they bounce on and off every channel, don't they? You have to have that security of core business that you're coming from, whether it's product heroes, whether it's your digital base, or whether it's your operational base. And Tom, you've seen this journey, and you and I have been through a few of them where they've been very interesting. What advice do you have? Because great vision, you talk about sexy stuff, Gilbert, falls down if that's all there is. It can't just be sizzle, it's got to be steak. So
it is the unsexy stuff that ultimately pays back like tenfold down the line. And if you design your brand to scale from day one, particularly in this very challenging cost-driven market, you can save yourself such a lot of money down the line. I always like to bring it to life and tell a few stories of things, and I can think of so many brands that have just forgotten like the basics of putting a barcode on a product, and it's like, that's fine for day one, but what happens when you want to like scale that and like we want to automate some of those processes, or we want to start shipping into retail? Like, that's not going to wash, and it's going to cost you so much to relabel all of that stock. If you get that unsexy, boring stuff right from day one, you are just laying such strong foundations that will set you up for future success.
And thinking about scaling within market and cross channels, but I kind of want to come to you, James, as well, because that internationalisation piece and global e-commerce is becoming such a massive part. How do you scale globally? You can often start, yes, with social awareness, but next it's e-commerce. Yet thinking about how do I do e-commerce in other markets is another headache and another pile of information that really people need some expert advice on. What's your advice?
When it comes to international, they don't do a comparison between their domestic market and their international market. And it's really interesting, and I suggest everybody do this when they go home. Look at your website and look at how your domestic business is performing, and then compare it against your international business. But then what you could do is, if you take those KPIs of your domestic business and then apply the same ones to your international business, you can begin to see a real opportunity of how you could grow your business in these different markets. Local language, local currency, local payment methods, understanding your consumer in the target market is absolutely key. I talk to UK brands all the time, and it's remarkable. They don't even know that in the United States, people get paid every 2 weeks, whereas here we get paid every 30 days. And so creating offer architecture around that, understanding your consumers, understanding that in the Middle East, a lot of consumers prefer to inspect goods before they accept delivery. And so cash on delivery is incredibly important.